Oof! Ouch! That's gotta hurt. Right up the poop chute. Rambo is just such a lovable rogue. The Rambo movies are a big piece of 80s movie nostalgia, and for me, when I was growing up, I loved these movies. I had Rambo First Blood Part 2 on a Commodore 64, and I had this game by Sega on the Master System. Taking a different approach to most movie licenses, Sega opted to make a game of the movie which utilised the light gun. Operation Wolf and Operation Thunderbolt were doing great business in the arcades, and the light phaser game had a sort of mini renaissance in the late 80s, and this effort by Sega is a fantastic little game. And I do not use the term little loosely, as the game is tiny and can be completed in about 10 minutes. But do not think it was easy, as the difficulty in this game was skewed towards the harder side of things. It just seems like every time an enemy shoots, you lose life, like they cannot miss. And anyone who has seen the movies knows that is not the case, right? I personally think this idea to make Rambo 3 a light phaser game was a good move by Sega, especially after the con job they pulled with Secret Command and Rambo being the same game but sold under different names. I will definitely be doing a video about that at some point. But by opting for the light gun game, you knew it wasn't going to be a reskin, mainly as there were so few light gun games available at the time. It was like the forgotten peripheral from Sega. In the days of CRT TVs, light gun games were a good laugh to play with mates, as all you did was press the gun about 1 centimetre away from the screen and shoot. Well, that's how I often played them anyway. That was until you memorise the placement of the enemies, which only takes a few playthroughs. And you really do need to memorise the enemy placement, as you cannot afford to miss a single shot really. When you do run out of ammo, you can fire a single shot at a time, but not in quick succession. There seems to be a delay in shooting, and that is where the trusty rapid fire unit comes into play. Once you progress to the end of the game, the last level becomes just about impossible without it. I played this game a lot back in the day with schoolmates. Light gun games always seemed to be a game where everyone was equally as bad as each other, and sadly, Rambo 3 on the Master System became a game more about memorisation than outright skill. But then what do you expect from a light gun game really? It's simple point and shoot mechanics. Visually, this is very good for the Little Master System. The enemies are decently sized, but not terribly well animated. But the scrolling is remarkably smooth for a Master System game. The backgrounds are a mixture of light and dark settings and are basic, but the colour schemes cause very little colour clash with the enemies, which is exactly what you want in a game of this type. In between levels you get this image of Rambo, which is inspired from a scene from the movie. And for an 8-bit machine, they are rubbish, and quite laughable as well. Another feature my mate found laughable was the game cover artwork. He said the position of this cloud made it look like Rambo was doing a massive fart or something. I found it funny at the time. I mean, who wouldn't at that age? The sound effects are pretty awful. The tunes are memorable, but you would wish they were largely forgettable, as the sound is weary and annoying. The sound effects consist mainly of bleeps and boops, really surprising for an action game, and rather unsurprising for the Master System. They are rubbish too. The gameplay is basic, but that's the nature of this game. It's just point and shoot. To get around the light gun only having a trigger, you activate the grenade by shooting at it in the HUD at the bottom of the screen. And the same for the bottle, which I thought at first was a Molotov cocktail, but it turned out to be a refreshing, zesty elixir of life, and this is how you replenish lost energy. When you play the game, however, the rubbish sound effects do actually drive up the sense of danger. As you get to the later levels, you are often met with a lot of enemies at once at the very start of the level, and all you hear is bloop 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 bloop, and then you start to panic and start shooting wildly at anything to make it go away. And you end up wasting loads of ammo, making the rest of the level a challenge. And weirdly, that is the fun part of the game. It's those annoying little things that actually made this a game you wanted to beat. With the game only being about 10 minutes long, my mates and I would take turns in quick succession to see if any of us could beat it, which we could not. Well, not until the rapid fire unit appeared. A mate of mine knew someone with a Master System, and he managed to borrow a game from him, along with the rapid fire unit. And when using it on this game, it was a total game changer. It made the last level in particular so much easier. And when one of us finally shot down the Hind D, I remember us all whooping and hollering at the TV, only for his dad to shout up at us to be quiet. But it felt great to actually beat the game, especially as it kicked our ass so many times. But sadly, once the game was beat, it was consigned to the cartridge exchange pile, and never played again. There was just no replay factor in the game. You couldn't even compete against your mates for a time, as the game auto-scrolled, and all the scores were pretty much the same if you shot everything, which you had to do anyway. So where was the replay value? And at £30 for 10 minutes play, it was just too overpriced for what it was. Even now on emulation, there are better games to play on the Master System, and so I do find it tough to recommend to anyone to go and play. But if you feel compelled to do so, then I guess go for it. And that was my look back at Rambo 3 on the Sega Master System. If you like this video, then please do give me a sub and a thumbs up, or maybe even a comment or two below about your memories of Rambo 3 on the Sega Master System. And as always, a massive thank you to all of those who have subscribed and commented on my channel. Your feedback and support really does go a long way in helping the channel grow, and I do appreciate all of your support, so a massive thank you from me. And that's all from me, folks. Thanks for watching.